All right. Let's dive deep into something you might not think is that exciting. Bones.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know they kind of hold us up, right? But
Yeah.
our sources this time are saying there's like this whole secret world of stuff going on in there, like communication and chemicals. So let's unlock some of those bone secrets and see why they matter
Definitely.
to, all of us.
I think a lot of people don't realize that bones are actually really dynamic.
Okay.
They're not just these static structures. They're constantly remodeling themselves, adapting.
Not just like unchanging scaffolding inside us.
Yeah, no, not at all. And this remodeling, this constant process, it's a delicate balance. You've got three main types of cells. Osteoblasts, the builders, they're the ones making new bone. You've got osteoclasts, the breakers, they break down old bone. And then you've got osteocytes, which, as you'll see, are kind of the crucial communicators in this whole process.
Right, so like a constant construction project going on in our skeletons.
Exactly.
What about these osteocytes? They're not just sitting there, are they?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
They're super fascinating. Imagine your skeleton has like its own internal messaging system.
Okay.
That's kind of what they're doing. They form this network within the bone, the bone matrix, and they produce this molecule called FGF23.
Okay, intrigued. FGF23, what's that do? And why would my bones need to send messages?
So FGF23, it signals to the kidneys. It tells them how to regulate phosphorus levels in the body.
Okay, phosphorus, right.
Yeah.
Involved in nerve function, muscle contraction, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Even how our cells make energy.
It's a busy molecule.
So healthy bones, thanks to these, chatty osteocytes, are impacting how well our brain works and how much energy we have.
It's all connected, yeah.
That's wild. But our sources, they go even further.
Oh, yeah.
They talk about this scientist, Gerard Carstentie.
Yes.
Made some crazy bone discoveries.
Carstentie's work has really challenged how we traditionally see bone. He focused on this hormone produced by bone cells called osteocalcin, and his research, a lot of it with mice, revealed that osteocalcin might actually play a role in blood sugar and metabolism.
Okay, so now our bones are affecting how our body uses energy.
It seems so, yeah.
It's getting more and more interesting. And there's even, I think it was a case study.
Right.
Mentioned in one of the sources about these children who have this genetic mutation. They don't produce leptin.
Ah, yes, that's a fascinating case. So leptin is a hormone. It's produced by fat cells, and it's known to, suppress appetite, but it also seems to inhibit bone growth.
Right.
And these children lacking leptin, they had super dense bones.
So their bones just grow unchecked because they weren't getting that signal from the leptin saying stop.
Yeah.
So are our bones like listening in on signals from our fat cells and adjusting how they grow?
It seems like it, yeah. I mean, there's definitely this interplay between, bone
and energy regulation. It's really complex.
It really highlights how interconnected all of this is.
It really is. And Carstentie even went a step further and proposed this idea of what he calls the physiology of danger.
The physiology of danger. Okay, that sounds intense. What is that?
Yeah, so he observed that osteocalcin, it influences things like male fertility, cognitive function, and muscle performance. And he proposed that, way back when, osteocalcin might have helped early vertebrates survive by boosting their energy and muscle function in response to danger.
Like our ancestors encounter a predator, their bones sense that danger.
Yeah.
They release osteocalcin, gives them that boost of energy and strength to escape. It's like our skeletons helped us survive back in the day.
Yeah, that's the idea, though it is still a hypothesis that needs more investigation, but it's a fascinating thought.
Oh, for sure. Speaking of connections, our sources also got into bone health and muscle growth.
Yeah. Seems obvious, muscles pull on bone, but it's more than just that, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's way more than just physical. There's a lot of back and forth at the molecular level between the two.
Right.
So, for example, muscles produce this molecule called myostatin. Which limits muscle growth, but it turns out it also keeps bone growth in check.
So it's like a shared regulator.
Yeah, exactly.
For both systems.
Yeah.
But our muscles aren't the only ones doing the talking here.
Right. There's definitely a two-way conversation. So when we exercise, our muscles release molecules like BIBA and irisin, which actually protect bone cells and promote bone health. It's like your muscles are saying to your bones, hey, we're working hard here. You need to keep up.
Wow.
And what's even more interesting, the bones talk back. to the muscles.
Really?
By producing a molecule called prostaglandin E2, which can actually stimulate muscle growth.
Wow, so working out is actually benefiting our bones in a way, more direct way than we thought.
For sure.
This is really making me want to hit the gym. But before we do, let's talk about another surprising connection that the sources brought up.
Okay.
The link between our bone health and gut bacteria. I gotta say, that one kind of threw me for a loop.
Yeah, it is surprising.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that the trillions of bacteria in our gut could impact something like bone, but it's becoming clear that the gut microbiome plays a bigger role in overall health than we realized.
Right.
And that includes bone health.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, right? How can these, tiny organisms in our gut affect something as, I don't know,
solid
and structural as bone?
Right.
So scientists are still working out all the details.
Right.
But they've shown, for instance, that mice raised in completely sterile environments, no gut bacteria at all, they actually end up with higher bone mass than mice with a normal gut microbiome.
So having a gut microbiome actually leads to lower bone mass.
Yeah.
That seems kind of backwards. Wouldn't you want more bone mass?
You would think, right. But it really shows how complex this connection is.
Yeah. It's not just about having gut bacteria. It's about having the right balance of different types.
Yeah.
Some microbes may promote bone breakdown, while others actually help with growth.
So not just bacteria equals bad for bones.
Exactly. It's way more nuanced than that.
Okay.
And one of the ways these gut bacteria actually support bone health is by producing short-chain fatty acids.
Okay.
Those fatty acids can influence bone growth in a couple ways. They interact with our metabolism.
Right.
They can even stimulate the liver to produce a growth factor called IGF-1, which is involved in bone growth.
So our gut bacteria are producing stuff that goes to our liver, tells it to make growth factors, which then affect our bones.
Yeah.
It's like this whole chain reaction.
It really is.
Are there certain types of bacteria that are like the good guys for our bones?
There's some promising research on that. Some probiotics, like Lactobacillus reuteri, have shown potential to protect against bone loss.
So instead of like taking a pill for osteoporosis, maybe the future will be taking probiotics.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. What about other treatment avenues? Given all this new stuff, we're learning about how bone communicates.
Well, one area that researchers are really excited about is repurposing existing medications. So, for instance, they're looking at beta blockers, which are typically used for high blood pressure.
Yeah.
You remember how we talked about leptin?
That hormone from fat cells that could signal bone breakdown?
Right. So leptin basically flips a switch in bone cells, telling them to stop building and start breaking down.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that beta blockers can block the receptors in bone cells that leptin activates.
Wait, so you're saying this blood pressure medication could potentially protect bones from breaking down?
That's what they're finding, yeah. Early studies have shown promise.
Wow.
And there are bigger clinical trials underway now.
Okay.
It's a perfect example of how understanding these pathways can lead to totally unexpected treatments.
That's amazing. It's like turning a weapon against itself. This is also promising.
Yeah.
But what about aging bones? Is there anything in the works that could help, revitalize bones that are already showing signs of age?
There is, actually. A very exciting area of research is focused on something called senescent cells.
Senescent cells, those are the grumpy old cells, right?
Yeah.
They stop dividing, but they don't die off.
Right.
And just cause inflammation.
Exactly. And as we age, these senescent cells, they kind of build up throughout the body in our bone tissue, too.
Right.
And that contributes to, bones weakening, being more prone to fractures.
So they're like these little troublemakers stirring up problems in our bones.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. But the really cool thing is that scientists are working on drugs called senolytics. And these drugs specifically target and eliminate those senescent cells.
So instead of just slowing down bone loss, we could clear out those problem cells.
Yeah.
And maybe give our bones a chance to, rejuvenate.
That's the idea, yeah. It's still early, but the initial studies are promising. They've shown in mice that senolytics can improve bone mass and strength. Human trials are happening now, and, if those are successful, it could really be a game changer for treating age-related bone loss, helping older adults stay mobile longer.
That would be incredible. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive. From those chatty osteocytes, sending messages to our kidneys, to Like, the surprising connections between our bone health and muscles and even our gut bacteria. It's amazing how our skeletons are so much more than just, holding us up.
Absolutely. And we've really just scratched the surface. There's still so much we don't know about bone.
Yeah.
But I think what's really important to remember is that we really need to change how we think about bones. They're not passive. They're active participants in this amazing communication network.
Right. Not just supports, but like a vital organ impacting everything from our energy to our muscles to potentially, our mood and even our thinking.
Yeah.
This has been such an eye-opener for me.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to look at my skeleton totally differently now.
I'm glad. I hope this deep dive has maybe got you thinking differently about your own skeleton too.
Definitely. So what would you say is the final takeaway for our listeners?
Well, I think the bottom line is bone health matters. It matters for your physical health, for your mental well-being, for your quality of life. And by understanding how our skeletons talk to other parts of our bodies, we can make better choices about our lifestyle, our nutrition, even our treatments to keep our bones strong throughout life.
That's a great point to end on. A reminder that our bodies are these amazing systems.
Yeah.
And that taking care of one part, like our bones, can have these ripple effects everywhere else.
Exactly. And with all the research that's happening, it's really exciting to think about the future of bone health. We're really just at the beginning.
I think you're right. Well, listeners, it's been a blast exploring this hidden world of bones. Hope you've enjoyed it and maybe come away with like a new appreciation for your own skeleton.
Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never underestimate the power of your own bones.
Great advice. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep those bones healthy and those minds curious.